The BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup is brought to you by Gaz Shocks and Townsend Vehicle Hire Rugby.
Hello and welcome to rounds 12 and 13 of the 2016 BRSCC Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. You find us at the fantastic Donington Park circuit in Leicestershire, where it's now becoming a two-horse race for the title between Tom Roach and James Blake Baldwin. We'll catch up with James to find out how his season's been so far, with 4 wins apiece for each driver. But before then, if you missed any of the incredible action at Brands Hatch, here's race commentator Andy McEwan to fill you in.
The pair of races at Brands Hatch last time out proved just how close and competitive the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup can be, with 2 enthralling races on the short, sharp Indy circuit, a layout that always provides drama. Alan Henderson managed to escape most of it out front as he pulled away from a titanic scrap for second, in which traffic played quite a part. Henderson took the win ahead of Tom Roach and James Blake Baldwin, who once more joined him on the lower steps of the podium. Race 2 was even more eventful. First, Tom Roach and James Blake Baldwin traded painted druids, easing Blake Baldwin out wide and allowing everyone else behind to close in. Then Alan Henderson decided he wanted to join in the action as well, driving around the outside of Roach at Paddock Hill Bend, only to get squeezed out at the next corner. It all came to a head at the last turn when Liam Murphy tagged Blake Baldwin sideways, holding them both up and allowing Henderson through into second. It was Roach, though, who took another race victory, and with it a slender championship lead arriving here at Donington. He's just 2 points clear of James Blake Baldwin in second, whilst Alan Henderson is third, but unfortunately has had to withdraw from the championship, meaning he's likely to slip back.
Well, as you can just about see behind me, the cars are heading off for the formation lap for their first race of the weekend. As you can also see by the conditions, it has absolutely tipped it down with rain. The track is absolutely sodden, everyone's on wet tyres, and it's James Blake Baldwin and Jonathan Greasmith on the front row of the grid. So, who's going to be the rain master here at Donington this afternoon? Let's find out by handing over to race commentator Andy McEwan to take you through the grid. Andy, it's going to be a wet one.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. And yes, as you were saying, conditions far from ideal for this first race here at Donington Park. It is very wet. There is a lot of standing water. This is going to be interesting. As you said, Blake Baldwin and Greensmith on row 1, with Tom Roach and an impressive Tom Collins on row 2. Liam Murphy and Gary Townsend make up row 3 ahead of Jack Harding and Jamie Goddard. Simon Goddard and Simon Fleet round out the top 10, with Richard Breland and Andy Coombs on row 6. So the cars are lined up then, and they're about to venture into the unknown. 20 minutes of racing around a sodden Donington Park National circuit. It is James Blake Baldwin on pole position on driver's left with the orange stripes. The all-blue car alongside him is Johnny Greensmith. The lights go out, away we go, and it looks as though maybe the green car in third place, championship leader Tom Roach, seems to have made the best start. He's found a gap up the inside of Blake Baldwin, who tries to come across to cover, but it's too late, and so Tom Roach gets a good start. Can he snatch the race lead away from Johnny Greensmith? Maybe. Not sure he did. I think Greensmith just about held on. Everybody else splashes their way through Redgate Corner for the first time, and you can see there just what a premium there is on visibility. The spray being kicked up in the faces of the drivers further back down the order makes driving at full speed almost impossible. Yet with a clear windscreen out in front, Johnny Greensmith will now try and get his head down and pull away from the rest of the field. It's Roach second, Blake Baldwin is third. Gary Townsend's had a good start into fourth, with Simon Goddard there fifth. He's got Jack Harding thinking about going up the inside of him, but couldn't quite do it. Down into the old hairpin, Tom Collins and Jamie Goddard run side by side in 2 of the silver coloured cars towards the back end of the top 10. And that one works out with Jamie Goddard just about in front. Everyone doing a great job thus far, though, of keeping it on the island. Andy Coombs there battling away with George Grant. That's down in about 15th place towards Schwantz Curve. And then into the first of those 2 right-handers at the top of the circuit, McLean's, and then up the hill towards Coppice. This is where we join Liam Murphy. You can see the lack of visibility he has there as he starts to attack Jack Harding in front of him. Jack takes a defensive line into Coppice, but the grip is on the outside in the wet, and you saw Liam Murphy using that brilliantly. Gets a nice drive off the corner, gets up the inside of Jack Harding, and just in front of them, Simon Goddard gets all out of shape as well in 5th place, so they both catch him, and it means that coming towards the completion of lap number 1, they're 3 abreast down towards the chicane for the first time, and Liam Murphy could be the real winner here. They're both sailed past Simon Goddard, and now Liam Murphy goes past Jack Harding as well. Just in front of them, Gary Townsend seemed to outbrake himself into the chicane as well, proving just how difficult it is to negotiate the circuit in these conditions. George Grant dives up the inside of Andy Coombs, then Ray Worley in behind them there in the black and yellow number 40 car. Here's the Masters Championship leader coming into this weekend. Well, Gary Townsend's moment at the chicane did lose him ground, didn't it? Because Murphy and Harding have both gone through, so that drops Gary down to 6th, which is where he started, but he had made a good start prior to that moment. Back out of Redgate then, the top 3 really getting away here, aren't they? Liam Murphy aquaplaning slightly there as he came through Hollywood and down towards the Crane of Curves again. This is a good battle going on further back. Simon Goddard seems to be struggling in the wet slightly, doesn't he? He ran well at Rockingham last year in the wet in both the Mark 3s and the Mark 1s, but he's struggling initially here at Donington Park. He's got Tom Collins going up the inside of him nearly. Tom has just dispatched of Jamie Goddard, and Tom thought about going for a second move. Jamie tries some grass and finds the water splash on the exit of the old hairpin there, and so he loses a bit of traction, slots back in line. You really daren't run directly in line with the cars in front of you because the visibility is so poor with the spray kicked up in front of you. Richard Wicklund there has found the limits of adhesion and has found his way into the old hairpin gravel trap, but I think he's just about going to manage to find his way back on track. The compacted gravel in these wet conditions makes it slightly easier to recover from a moment like that. This is the battle for 3rd place going on. Liam Murphy going up the inside down towards the end of the back straight, and I think, yes, Liam has just about found his way through, so Liam is now onto the podium. Another driver who's shown much improved wet weather pace over the last 12 months or so. He finds a way past James Blake Baldwin, and Liam, if he's going to keep his slender championship hopes alive, really has to start winning races fairly soon. He's unlikely to win this one though, because Johnny Greensmith is already about 9 seconds to the good over the rest of the field. We'll wait and see though over the remaining laps whether Liam Murphy has the time and the pace to catch the championship leader Tom Roach in front of him for 2nd. Through Hollywood they go. Look how wide Liam goes through there, just avoiding the parts of the circuit where the rubber is laid down, because ironically in the wet that is not where the grip is. You need to be running around the outsides of all of these corners to try and find a bit of grip and traction. The Donington Park circuit is notoriously slippery in the wet as well, more so than most of the circuits in the country. This is a battle further down the order. Ray Worley you see in the background there recovering. He had a spin on the 2nd lap of the race, avoiding Andy Coombs, who's just coming through the picture there in the orange number 8 car. He's lost several positions as a result to the likes of Simon Orange, Carl Garnett and the number 41 machine of David Willoughby, who will be Ray's next target. Ray trying to get up the inside, but that's significant for the Masters Championship, that moment that Ray Worley and Andy Coombs had, because Ray, as we said, championship leader coming into this weekend in the Masters Cup, and really couldn't afford a moment like that. So he works his way back down the hill towards the old hairpin. Headlights ablaze there for David Willoughby in front of him. Try and deal with the impending gloom here at Donington Park this afternoon. Now this is for 2nd place. Tom Roach is being caught by Liam Murphy, and he's just made a bit of a mistake there at the chicane. You can see the extra momentum that Liam Murphy is able to take off the corner. This is Liam's opportunity. Fantastic on boards here with the Blendini Motorsport car of Tom Roach, the championship leader. He doesn't want to get himself involved in too many scrapes, especially with Liam, who we will not see as one of his main championship rivals. They almost trade a bit of paint on the run in towards Redgate Corner, but Liam rather sensibly, I think, backs out of that particular move, but then Roach loses traction mid-corner again, and so Liam will once more carry a bit more speed off the turn and down through the Crane of Curves. You can see here the extra wide line that Liam takes. Now let's see if that gains him a bit of speed down through the Crane of Curves. Through the right-hander it didn't, but through the left-hander he's visibly more confident, isn't he, and closes several car lengths on the green machine in front. Through the old hairpin, neither of them bothering with the apex there in these very wet conditions. And again, it's Murphy who is closing all the time. Now, if these two start tripping over each other, that could theoretically bring James Blake Baldwin back into the fight for 2nd. As it is at the moment, though, he is a little bit detached from those two. We join now the fight for 12th place between Carl Garnett and a returning James Aspinall there in one of the Paul Sheard Motorsport machines, number 28. Makes his way down into the right-hander at the old hairpin, and James, who was a regular last year, this is his first outing of the season though, and he is struggling a little bit to get to grips with the conditions. I think he's now got George Grant in behind him. These three, as I said, outside the top 10, fighting over 12th position at the moment. Here though, on his final lap, and with no one else in sight really, save a couple of back markers, is Johnny Greensmith, who is going to take not only his first win of the year, but his first ever win in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. It's been a year and a half in the making, but Johnny Greensmith does it in style. He will win in the end by nearly 10 seconds, I reckon, over Tom Roach in second position. Roach is just about going to hang on from Liam Murphy, despite Liam setting the fastest lap. They are the final podium finishers. Blake Baldwin is fourth. Jack Harding here is going up the inside of a back marker into the final corner. That was the 85 machine of Ian McDonald. He's going to come across the line in fifth, is Jack, with Tom Collins not far behind him in sixth position. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Jamie Goddard, who we're expecting through in seventh place. And this is for the Masters Cup, and Gary Townsend locks up and goes out wide and hands the class win away to Richard Breland. Well, it's not the first time we've seen Gary Townsend do that at the final corner, but this time it's cost him the win in the Masters part of the race. He will still finish second, but Richard Breland in the white machine with his hand out the cockpit is very happy with that. He went from third to first in the last couple of laps, so great drive from Richard, and he gets into the top 10 on his return. Johnny Greensmith, though, simply could not be caught. The winning margin, 8 seconds at the end of the 20-minute race, from Roach in second and Liam Murphy third. Then it's Blake Baldwin, Harding, Collins, Jamie Goddard, Richard Breland, Gary Townsend and Simon Goddard rounding out the top 10, ahead of Carl Garnett, Simon Fleet, James Aspinall, George Grant and Jeff Gurrier rounds out the top 15. We didn't have any retirements in that race. All 27 starters made it to the checkered flag, all the more impressive given how challenging the conditions were.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Got that monkey off my back, and especially in these conditions, and I hate this condition as well. And I wasn't expecting much, to be honest with you. Just going into that first corner, proper nice and calm and collective, and I'm thinking everyone's going to be coming down inside of me, and just had to keep my brain switched on and just keep going.
Well, with the weather improving now ahead of race 2, we can expect the on-track action to heat up as well. Join us after the break. Hello and welcome back to a now bright and sunny Donington Park. Before we get into race 2 though, let's take a look back at what happened in the Masters Championship in race number 1. There were some great battles up and down the order as usual across 14 entrants, almost half of the grid. Andy Coombs recovered from a spin on lap number 2 at Starkeys, which also caught up the championship leader Ray Worley. Simon Fleet and George Grant did battle, as too did Jeremy Crook, Jim Hart and David Willoughby. Ray Worley was the championship leader coming into the race and held on to that despite his moments up at Starkeys with Andy Coombs. The main battle though was between Simon Goddard and Gary Townsend. Goddard had a moment on the penultimate lap before Townsend threw away the race victory at the last corner, allowing the returning Richard Breland to come through and take the win. Well, race 2 about to get underway in thankfully much more pleasant conditions than we enjoyed yesterday. The grid for this one is decided based on the results from yesterday's race. So it is Johnny Greensmith, the race winner, on pole, Tom Roach second, Liam Murphy third and James Blake Baldwin fourth. And it's James who seems to have made the best jump there off the line. He angled his car aggressively towards the right hand side of the road and he's already picked third place up ahead of James Blake Baldwin. He's now going up the inside of Tom Roach for second as well. So a great start that from James Blake Baldwin. Oh, further back, that's unfortunately Simon Fleet, who rather clumsily clattered into the side of Steve Dolman as they went through Redgate Corner, and it's the Paul Sheard racing car that ends up beached in the gravel trap. So down through the Craner curves we come for the first time. Speeds visibly up based on race 1 yesterday in the now bone dry conditions. These conditions almost perfect for racing really, and it is going to be Johnny Greensmith then out in front. Second place is James Blake Baldwin, third is Tom Roach, fourth is Jack Harding, fifth for Tom Collins, then it's Simon Goddard sixth and Jamie Goddard seventh, with Townsend, Breland and Carl Garnett looking to round out the top 10. Jeff Gurrier there in the number 71 machine running well as well. Leaders up at McLean's, and Steve Dolman will be extricated from the gravel trap and hopefully will be able to rejoin at the back of the field. As at the front of the field we have our first of, I suspect, many lead changes in this race, as through goes James Blake Baldwin, gets himself ahead of Johnny Greensmith, and Tom Roach follows him through as well. So the new order: Blake Baldwin, Roach, Greensmith and Murphy, the leading quartet, then side by side for fifth between Jack Harding and Tom Collins. It's almost side by side again for the race lead though, as Tom Roach thought he saw a gap up the inside. Johnny Greensmith tries to go around the outside of the pair of them through the chicane. He's going to get squeezed out wide over the curbs. Oh, the car gets sideways and Johnny Greensmith spins away from second place, and well, that was all rather unfortunate. He thought he had an opportunity to go from third to first, got got squeezed onto the sausage curbs and falls well down the order. So it is Blake Baldwin that leads the way. It's Roach in second place, Murphy is third, Harding is now into fourth place with Tom Collins in fifth. Johnny Greensmith is 20th after that spin. 20th at the end of lap number 1 for Johnny Greensmith, and he now has a lot of work to do. You'd think that his chances of another podium, let alone a top 5 really, are fairly slim. Back down through the crane of curves, and that's all allowed Blake Baldwin just to escape slightly now from this fight for second between Roach and Liam Murphy. Tom Roach championship leader, Liam Murphy a little bit distant now after some issues earlier on in the year. Here's a replay. You can see this would have worked for Greensmith had Blake Baldwin left him a bit more room, and how on earth Roach and Murphy didn't clatter into the side of him, I do not know. That was great awareness from those two to avoid a more sizable incident. So, although Blake Baldwin had built up that little margin over Roach and Murphy a lap or so ago, they've now well and truly caught him again as they come through McLean's. Good run through there from Liam Murphy. He closes in on Roach, but he in turn is attacking James Blake Baldwin for the race lead. Murphy gets to the outside line on the way into Coppice. He'll try and carry a bit of momentum on the exit of the corner. Doesn't really manage that, but he'll get a double slipstream down the back straight. It is Harding 4th and Collins 5th, who are slowly but surely closing in on this leading trio as they fall over each other slightly. Roach now gets to the outside of Blake Baldwin down towards the chicane. Is this one going to work? We've already seen what happened to Johnny Greensmith when he tried this a few laps ago, and indeed Tom Roach uses all of experience there to know when to back out of it, but that has now brought this whole leading quintet of cars together. So Blake Baldwin, Roach, Murphy, Harding and Collins all as one, as Blake Baldwin weaves this way and that to try and break the toe, to try and stop Tom Roach being able to slipstream past him on the run towards Redgate Corner. They stay in more or less the same order, although Tom Collins tries to go around the outside of Jack Harding and finds there's not much grip out there on the marbles and ends up in the dirt. Now, if he's lost the toe to the leading quartet, that may be the last we see of Tom Collins at the head of this race. Down through the crane of curves we come again. It's now 4 cars then dicing for the race lead. In towards the old hairpin they go, one of the most daunting corners in British motorsport. Certainly focuses the attention, but they've all negotiated it cleanly on this occasion. Up towards Schwantz Curve. And is anyone going to make a move here? Well, they're all taking very different lines into the corner, aren't they? Liam Murphy defending from Jack Harding. Oh, and the leaders have both got a bit tangled up there. Blake Baldwin and Roach both round wide, and that opens the door beautifully for the ever opportunistic Liam Murphy to slither up the inside. He may well have brought Jack Harding with him as well. Let's see as they come out of the corner. Well, he has, but Harding then gets squeezed out as well, and this brings Tom Collins and Simon Goddard and pretty much everyone else back into play too. Brilliant example there of bump drafting down the back straight as Tom Collins gets into the back of Tom Roach. And look at Johnny Greensmith. Johnny Greensmith, the blue car towards the back of this field, was 20th at the end of the opening lap. We're about 6 laps in now, and he's already at the back end of the leading train. He's 7th place, would you believe? Well, I said earlier on that his chances of a podium were pretty slim. Well, maybe I was wrong. He's certainly with them. You know what, he could even win this race. Up towards Redgate they go. Blake Baldwin leads, Murphy 2nd, Roach is 3rd, Harding 4th, Goddard 5th. Greensmith was 6th across the line, but Tom Collins has now gone past him and got past Simon Goddard as well. That's how quickly things can change in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. But we've got a huge train of cars now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cars, all fighting over the lead positions, and we're only halfway through the race. This is why people love the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup. It provides top quality racing at affordable prices, and when the racing is as exciting as this, it is no wonder that drivers keep coming back year after year after year to race in the championship. We've got a big grid this weekend, 27 cars, and everyone has someone to race with. Up towards McLean's we go again. Blake Baldwin is actually starting to make a bit of a break now from this group behind him. Murphy in 2nd place, Tom Collins gets a bit sideways, and here comes another move now from Johnny Greensmith. Gets up the inside of Collins in towards Coppice Corner and should be able to make that one stick. Yes, he does. Just in front of him, Jack Harding's trying to get up the inside of Tom Roach as well. This could benefit Greensmith as well. He's carried more speed off the corner. He's in the slipstream of Tom Roach going down the outside of the pair of them. This didn't work last time though, Johnny, so he decides to try and get himself back to the inside. He drives around the outside of Jack Harding, and he's still committed on the brakes. Goes up the inside of Tom Roach into the corner. They almost lean on each other. Roach clobbers the curb, and behind them Simon Goddard spins. Simon Goddard spins and ends up pointing the wrong way on the grass. That's a real shame for Simon, who was having a pretty decent race right in amongst it with the lead contenders, and unfortunately he has spun down the order. So Blake Baldwin from Murphy, and then this fight for 3rd place. Roach on the inside, Harding on the outside, Greensmith in the middle, and Tom Collins says, don't forget about me, I want to join in this as well. Goes up the inside of Jack and elbows him out onto the grass. So that may have been payback actually for when the two got close for comfort earlier on in the race as well. Greensmith Greensmith now back alongside Tom Roach. This is always heart-in-mouth stuff, side by side through the Craner curve, sideways through the Craner curve for Tom Roach. But Johnny Greensmith has gone through. He's gone from 20th to 3rd in about 8 laps. That is phenomenal. Back down towards the chicane then, approaching the closing stages of this race now, and Blake Baldwin still leads, but it's now amazingly Johnny Greensmith who's got himself into 2nd place. Roach is 3rd, whilst Liam Murphy has been demoted down to 4th, and it's still 6 cars contending the race lead, with Tom Collins and Jack Harding still very much a part of this battle as well. Tom Collins, just to prove the point, gets himself alongside Liam Murphy, who then gets a bit of assistance down the pit straight from Jack Harding. You saw there how that just boosted Liam Murphy's speed down the straight and brought him back alongside. So side by side almost for the race lead. Greensmith tries the outside at Redgate, risks getting hung out to dry here though as they make their way out of the corner and back down through Hollywood, but he just about gets himself back in line ahead of Roach and Murphy, and line astern then down through one of the most famous sequences of corners in British motor racing, which all ends in the old hairpin at the bottom of the hill, and James Blake Baldwin for now is managing to hang on. Race leaders then down into the chicane, and well, Jack Harding has now found his way into 2nd place. Look, with Johnny Greensmith down to 3rd. You take your eyes off this battle for 1 second and it all changes completely. Across the line we go then, and Blake Baldwin with a little bit of damage to the back of the car, but we're on to the final lap. He won't be worrying too much about that. Harding is in 2nd place and looking for his first win, possibly, with Greensmith trying to hang on to a sensational podium finish. Liam Murphy and Tom Collins get a bit close for comfort through Redgate, but Tom has to back out of the move and so stays in 6th place. 3 of these 6 drivers could fill out the 3 podium steps. This is very much still all to play for. Blake Baldwin's got a small margin of lead over Jack Harding, but with the way the slipstream works around here, you'd expect Jack to continue to close in over the remaining half a lap or so. This is a replay of what happened earlier on. Liam Murphy gets into the back of Jack Harding and sort of assists him through into 2nd place. Johnny Greensmith gets a bit fed up with all of this and tries to muscle his way in on the action as well. They arrived down at the old hairpin side by side for 2nd. A brilliant drive from Jack Harding. That, remember, is where his final race of the year unravelled in very similar fashion last year. He ended up sprinting to the gravel, so that was brave stuff. Back on board with Liam Murphy now towards Coppice Corner for the final time of asking up in front. The lead battles are still raging as well. Well, Blake Baldwin's got away. It's actually the fight for 2nd now between Harding and Johnny Greensmith, who runs side by side down towards the chicane. Johnny Greensmith's already executed one of the fight backs of the season in what has been undoubtedly the race of the season. Can he go one better and get into 2nd place around the outside of Jack Harding? Through the final corner they come. Oh, this could end in tears. Tom Roach gets hung out to dry, and Liam Murphy takes full advantage to get alongside. Well, James Blake Baldwin wins the race, and what a race it was. It is 2nd place that goes the way just about of Jack Harding. Johnny Greensmith unbelievably is 3rd. 4th position was almost 3 abreast, but it went in the end to Tom Collins, with Liam Murphy 5th and Tom Roach 6th. Jamie Goddard had a good result in 7th, Gary Townsend is 8th, James Aspinall 9th, and Richard Breland will round out the top 10. Well, I need to lie down after that race. I can only imagine how James Blake Baldwin feels. He had to fend off all comers in that race. Everyone had a go at getting past him at some point, and he held them all at bay. Blake Baldwin takes a really important win. It's made all the more important by the fact that his championship rival Tom Roach is only 6th. That's quite a big point swing. Outside the top 10, it's Carl Garnett 11th, Richard Wicklund 12th, Jeff Gurrier 13th, Simon Goddard all the way down in 14th after his spin, and Simon Fleet rounds out the top 15. And we did unfortunately have 3 non-finishers. David Willoughby, Andy Coombs and Ian McDonald all failed to get to the end.
Yeah, it must have looked good from the sidelines though. Wasn't too comfortable in the car, but no, it's great to come out on top. One of the probably the best races of the year in regards to how many people were up the front. Chris at Kent MX-5 Service has done an amazing job. Can't thank him enough. He really knows what he's doing, and he's proven it today. Great race.
Well, let's take a look at what that's done to the points. Well, I said it was an important win for James Blake Baldwin, and it really was. It gives him the championship lead by just 2 points over Tom Roach. Johnny Greensmith is still a factor in 3rd, but needs some luck, with Liam Murphy 4th and Jack Harding 5th.
So, as the afternoon turns to evening and another fantastic weekend of racing ends, just goes to show that come rain or shine, as proved this weekend, the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup always delivers. Now there's just 2 race weekends left, and the next one coming up is in September at Rockingham. You can keep up to date with all the championship goings on at mx5supercup.com, as well as on Facebook and Twitter, and also catch up with the BRSCC on their website, along as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. So, for myself, Scott Woodwiss, and all of us here at Donington, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at Rockingham.